Hello, I want to show you about constants and also illustrate how these things can be used with a small program. We will make a directory constants and we will create a file app. We will name it because we will program an app without any meaning and reason, and we will inherit from those program template thing, and we will do our already known variable, which will be seen by specific functions or methods of hooks. Okay. Handling bescheuert. Yeah. Our methods of our class. I'm always forgetting to tell you something, friends. VR script is not case sensitive by default, but with compiler pragmas, I think, or by compilers directives, it can be enabled. I don't know why this is black. So, okay. So, we have defined on here properties. So one property, and in the last movie we used also other variables to make them accessible from other functions, right? So they have been a kind of global thing, but there are also constants, and constants are defined by is it defines? Yes, by defines, and we can make one constant for example. Let's stick to a closer thing as last time, max iteration. Oh no, let's make max speed. Max speed, let's say 175 kilometers an hour, right? So okay, so if you would have your class of a car, maybe, and if you would use our function increase speed, then and if you would have a variable current speed, then this thing, whenever the method is named increase speed, the current speed is incremented. But this should only be done if, for example, current speed is less than max speed. Okay, so this would be the idea. No, also one usage of, right? And let's say on here, return true if this has worked out. But in case that we would be now at maximum speed, then we would maybe return false, and our function on here could say, okay, if increase speed, if the return value is true, then you could maybe write console print line speed of car increased by 1 or whatever. And if it's a false, then it could be maybe saying print line max speed reached, slow down. Okay, so something like this, we could do. And let's run this thing, and it actually should say max speed reached, slow down. Why the heck? This is completely wrong, right? So if current speed is less than max speed, oh yeah, this is right. Okay, no, then do current speed and return true. Okay. Okay, do we need maybe... Oh, I'm stupid. No, yeah, I'm stupid because I need to put this on here. So, speed of car increased by 1, okay? So, if we would have maybe a start speed of 174, then you would say speed of car increased by 1, okay? Okay, and if we are now at 175, maximum speed will slow down. Okay, so now if we would now need to change the maximum speed, and we have used this value on here also, and maybe on a third place or whatever, yeah. Hello, max speed reached, let's say on here, max speed, slow down. Okay, so only the maximum speed is listed, right? And if we would need to change the maximum speed because we have a better car, yeah, and we have maybe 220, right? And let's make it here also 220. Then we only need to change this constant and every position in the source code where we use this constant, this is inserted. This is one reason for usage of constants. The other reason is from the semantic. It could be that a bridge, if we would model a bridge, bridge model, a bridge to be, to be calculated on is specified to maximum 100 cars or whatever, yeah. So it is calculated, yeah. So we could also say max weight as cars is 100 cars, and then we could make some calculations, simulations or whatever for a specific bridge. On here it acts also to replace it at points, but this constant is given by the outer world. It's defined by the outer world we try to model in our application, or for example the value pi. It's also given by the outer world from reality, even if it's an imaginary one, but it's given and does not need to change and is not allowed to be changed within the software accidentally or something. Okay, so these are the idea about constants, and let's head to the PC. I will show you on here. In the MSXVR programming book, there are also, in this case, keyboard constants listed, and we see on here also such constants, and each of those constants represent one value, as we have seen in the computer program we did now, right? And this is also given by the outer world. But the outer world is the hardware implementation of MSX VR, and the firmware around it. We are sitting on top of these two things and using those. So we would so the value would not actually change, and it's maybe easier to keep track about it. So it's easier to remember which value corresponds to what. Okay, so short break, and then we will make an experiment with keyboard constants. And one thing in advance, if MSX VR teams decides to make some changes on the hardware somehow or on the firmware, they would ensure that the key H corresponds to the correct new internal value. So this makes it also more stable if something changes below of the computer where we don't have access to manipulate or to do some weird things. Okay, so let's head back to the MSX VR, and I have made some notes for me. So we will we will get rid of these things we had here. This was just for illustration. Okay, let's prepare again our programming environment. We have seen it like this, and then show window. Click. So and let's save this setting. Save. Okay. So yeah, so we see here the files within this tut const on here, these two files. Okay. So what we will make, we will make something which takes care about the keyboard. Yeah? We are implementing on here a class. However, this class and the instance of this class, while this program is loaded into the program in memory and then maybe interpreted runtime, or if it's in the compiled version, it will convert it to an object which sits in the program in memory of the MSX VR somewhere, and then it is executing this start method, right? So this is a special position in our application to define a class. Yeah. But we would actually start to write this. Oh yes, please. Didn't save it. Okay. So, but we will make one class which takes care about keyboard entries or something, and we will name it keyboard.py. And my starting in programming a few years ago, there I used C and C++, and they have named the file, the include files for class definition with a C and then something and then header or whatever. So let's stick to this here. Maybe it's helpful. And maybe not, I don't know. But it does not matter how we name it, we just need to name it. And let's make our class C keyboard, which also implements those program. Actually, I'm trying to reprogram a few functions from VR Basic or from MSX Basic for usage in a DOS program, because I'm somehow missing those. Oh, I don't need, or I haven't seen it yet. We will define a property, a variable named app, to get a linkage from this instance to the instance of the main program on here, and we will fill it. And we don't need to use now here virtual starting, because we don't want to change behavior of this, because this class is instantiated while something else, our app thing, has been instantiated from this program, and it's calling this class on here. So we don't need this, but we need to help the computer to know how to assemble this object C keyboard. And how to assemble this, it's firstly described in the class description, in the definition of the class. But from the doing, there is a constructor, and this is the new operator. The new operator, it is the new operator, and we will override the behavior of the new operator. So we can do some special magic things, but I don't know which. So we will say app. We will see later when we will call it. I think with the keyboard, with the last program we have seen it somewhere, I think, right? So okay, so now this thing is living and it's connected to the app. It will reside or know actually at which memory space the main app object lives. And let's make a method wait for space, for example. Okay, wait for space. Later we will make a kind of keyboard hit function like in the conio from the Borland C compiler. They had a nice include file with nice functions. So let's get a console, but we will not ask get those to provide it. We will ask the parent item app to provide it, and there we will call get those and then get console. So we are at the same console as the app on here, I would say, and simply type what this thing is doing. It is waiting for space key to be pressed. Let's make something like this, okay? And this should be done as long this key has not been pressed. Okay, and when it will have been pressed, then this while loop would be exited and program execution continues. And as this method has the task just to wait for a space and then it's done, we will then return space has been pressed. Okay, so this is our return value, yeah, for something which will instantiate this class and call this method on here. So, and now our constants, while if we would put on here a 1 in, a 1 or the value true, then this while loop would never end, because while is analyzing the inside of these two brackets, and if the answer of this evaluation of this expression within this results in true, it will execute this thing on here. So what we will do, we will use our function. I have catched up in one movie from MSXVR team, but I have not seen this method in the manual. So it's maybe worth to show this here. Let's say the space. Okay, so what we are doing on here, we are calling a function is key pressed. It asks us for which key. We don't know the number, the internal number, which corresponds to the key space. So we use here a constant, okay, from our table we have seen in the programming book. And this function will return a result value. If it is pressed, it will return 1. But we are asking if this function returns 0, also if it's really 0, what's the outcome of this function, then we know, oh, it's not pressed yet. So we will output waiting for a space key to be pressed. Okay, and so therefore the loop is running as long we are not pressing a key, because then this function here would return a 1, and this does not fulfill this question if it's exactly 0. So the evaluation of this statement results not in a manner of, yeah, it's true what's standing on here, and then while stops execution, execution of the commands which are surrounded by these curly brackets, and continuous execution on here, and it returns, and that's it. Okay, so this is now a small class which takes care about the keyboard. And we want now to get this to life on our app. I hope I have not misspelled something. what we will do, we will firstly clean up the screen, and now we will simply instantiate a keyboard. I will keyboard. I will write KB. Okay. Is new, and then C keyboard. Okay. And we need to provide to this constructor, to this signature of this method, a parameter, and this is this. And this is a variable which contains simple address where the memory context where it lives, the instance of this app, begins in program memory. This is inside of this, I would say. Yeah. So okay, so we are providing this here, and our class parato new receives this one and saves it to be used in other functions, in other methods. So this is the connection between these two. And now we will simply say result of something, and we will call this function, how did we name it? Wait for space, copy, wait for space. Okay, so the program will leave it and will go into the object keyboard and ask the keyboard wait for space, and as soon as it will result, it will return, and then we would simply do nothing, right? Okay, no, we will print out the result. Print line result. Okay, and then we would actually make our end thing on here, but we will skip this, right? Okay, so did I save the keyboard thing? Yes, I did. Okay, so let's try to start this one thing. Okay, there are undefined tokens out of the class found in this weird thing. Okay, in the app 25. Boom. Okay. Yeah. Okay. This was from the cleanup previously where we had these if statements, I would say. Okay, save, run, and you see waiting for space, and now I'm pressing other letters. I'm pressing K, U, Z, T, R, and now I will press space, and space has been pressed. Okay, and now we need to cancel this program with Control and C. Okay, so this was the idea in the what I wanted to show you, these constants and how they are actually used, and where this lives, yeah, and where they can be taken into life. Okay, I hope the video was not so long and you enjoyed, and I wish you a good evening. Bye.